What's happening, guys? This is Nagpal for iGyaan, and today Samsung has announced or launched the new Samsung Galaxy S6 and the S6 Edge, both in my hand right now. In India, pricing is right apparently this time around, because the devices are going to be available in the market from April 10th, starting for 49,900 rupees for the S6, whereas the S6 Edge comes in at 58,900. Now you will get the 32GB, the 64GB and the 128GB variants across all or both these devices, and you can choose which variant you want. And you want to pick something with a higher capacity simply because you do not have removable or expandable storage on either of these devices. So Samsung has basically let go of everything that they were sort of selling in the past. So we have no removable battery and no expandable storage on the S6 or the S6 Edge, but we do have a lot more. So let's check out both of these devices and see what they look like and whether or not they'll make sense for you. Now, if we start off with the S6, it's a big difference coming from the Samsung lineage of S devices or the Galaxy S devices. The S6 has a complete metal and glass finish. So if I were to say that the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 4S were sort of fused together and some Korean flavor was added into it, the Samsung S6 would be sort of born. But looks really nice, and in terms of specifications, you have everything that you could ask for. You have a new f1.9 16 megapixel camera at the back, improved front camera as well. You have a quad HD display. You have a nice size, a unibody design, stainless steel around the edges, so it gives it a good overall look and feel. It's fairly slim, a good slim profile. And then you have a lot of other things, including LTE Cat 6. So you'll support all LTE bands across the country, whether it's TDD, FDD, or even 800 or 700 frequencies. So in terms of compatibility with LTE or future-proofing the device, Samsung has sort of done it this time around. They've launched it for 49,900 rupees. Sort of in the higher end still, but it is a flagship device, so for them to launch it for that price was only sufficient. But it is cheaper than what the S5 was launched at, so instead of going higher this year, they've gone lower. So the S6 Edge also has the same set of specifications, but you do have dual edges, which will add to the aesthetic value, but it actually looks a lot better than what the S6 looks like. So if you hold them in your hand, you'll see that you'll be inclined to go towards the S6 Edge simply because of the dual edges. Now, unlike the Note Edge, they're not basically selling a lot of edge functionality, but just aesthetic, saying that the device sort of bends down on both sides, and it's a new design, it's a new aesthetic for Samsung, and it should work well for those looking for a new or a unique design phone. The S6 Edge will totally fit into that category. In terms of the processor on the inside, we do have a new Exynos processor which does have octa-cores, but you have two quad-core CPUs, so a 2.1 GHz along with a 1.5 GHz. Now, when the devices were launched at Mobile World Congress, the S6 and the S6 Edge were supposedly going to come with different chipsets with more power in the Edge. But in India, they're both launched with the same chipset, so both the same Exynos and the same specs for the processor. You also get 3GB of LPDDR4 RAM, which is great because it's a newer generation of RAM for mobile phone devices. You also get UFS 2 storage. That means you'll get really high read and write rates from the inbuilt storage, which is going to be either 32GB, 64GB, or 128GB, depending on how much money you're going to be spending on either of these devices. Okay, so what you're looking at is the S6 in my right hand and the Edge in my left hand. As you can see, there is a taper on the screen over here as well as over here. So on the left edge or the right edge, on both the sides of the device, you have edges. If you go around the device real quick, you'll see quite a lot of differences in terms of the way they've laid out stuff here. So the SIM card tray is on the right on the main S6, whereas it's on the top on the S6 Edge, simply because there is no space to put the SIM card tray on the edge side of the phone. You do have the power buttons on the right side. On the bottom, very iPhone-like design again. You have the speakerphone over here, the main microphone, the micro USB charging and data syncing port, and the 3.5mm headphone jack. On the left, volume rockers for both devices, and like I said earlier, the SIM card tray is in the S6 Edge. You do have infrared blasters, and then you have the secondary noise cancellation microphones. On the back, you have 16 megapixel cameras on both the devices. f1.9 is the aperture of the lens, which is great, and you'll get really good low light is what basically Samsung is selling, and we expect that to happen just simply because we have an f1.9, and we'll be testing out the camera thoroughly. You do have a you do have a heart rate monitor over here, and you do have LED flash, which is dual over here as well. You can see that it is a glass back, so you do have Gorilla Glass on the front of the device, and you do have Gorilla Glass on the back, and both these are Gorilla Glass 4, so that should work out just fine for users. And an interesting question, but if you manage to break the back or the front, it's going to cost you quite a lot, simply because Gorilla Glass replacements are really expensive. But the fact that it has Gorilla Glass, your chances of breakage are that much low. Now, not a lot of things have been done by Samsung to sort of incorporate into the Edge. You do have your notifications that pop up on the right side if you do have any notifications. But the UI is fairly fast and responsive, and that's thanks to their extremely robust and extremely fast chipset that they've put, the new Exynos. We are running Lollipop and the latest edition of it. Now Samsung is tying in a bunch of security features, enterprise features, and of course a lot of camera features. This is the new camera application. So unlike on the Note Edge, your camera and everything, all the buttons for everything remain on the front of the screen, and they don't shift to the edge like they did with other devices. So let's pull out the camera again, and you'll see that with the Note Edge, the buttons sort of came on the edge. Over here, they're not really utilizing the edge for a lot of software capabilities, but mostly just for the aesthetic value of it, and it does look good. I won't deny it. You do have a bunch of modes over here, from auto to pro, selective focus, slow motion, fast motion, a virtual shot. You can do like a 3D shot of things, and you can download a bunch of other modes once you're connected to the internet. Unfortunately, we are not on these devices. A bunch of apps are loaded over here. They've also installed a bunch of games that you can check out, but these won't obviously come installed in the final version of the device. They've put these in the test device. You do have Samsung's TouchWiz skin over it, so you do have the usual TouchWiz feeling, and you do have the Flipboard application over to the leftmost in their magazine UI sort of thing that's going on. But not a lot of Samsung apps are installed, and you can install them if you want to. You can go into the Samsung apps folder, which you will see in your device, but you do have S Health and S Voice, and then you can download the Galaxy apps from the Galaxy App Store if that's what you need, if any of those apps you're used to or you need. You do have the smart remote, Peel Smart Remote, that will utilize the infrared blaster over at the top to sort of give you the usability with your televisions and home appliances, etc. So that's mostly the interface on the new S6 Edge, mostly selling on features around the camera and basic performance of the device. You'll be really happy with the way the phone works and the UI feels in the hand, but we'll be testing it thoroughly and sort of coming back with a review for you guys, so that you know whether or not these devices will be worth your money spent, and whether or not we feel if there'll be changes in prices at all. So there you go, guys. This was the S6 and the S6 Edge, the new Galaxy phones from Samsung. They're flagships. Now they are going to be manufactured in India soon enough, so will the pricing get affected? We don't know for sure, but they did say that a lot of R&D for the browser, the camera, and a bunch of other things that are in these devices happened in Bangalore in India, in their new R&D center in India. So if the devices do start to get manufactured in the country, that'll definitely bring down pricing, because that'll cut down the import duty. But will Samsung let it affect the pricing and sort of, you know, fight their own sales by dropping the price, because the other devices in their whole lineup will remain expensive, whereas the S6 and the S6 Edge will become cheaper if they start manufacturing them in India. So let's see what happens. This has been Bharat Nagpal. Stay tuned for our full review of the S6 and the S6 Edge. And if you have any questions or queries, do drop them in the comment section below. We'll try and get them all sort of done in the final review that will be out in a couple of days. This has been Bharat Nagpal. Thank you guys for watching.